last lesson, I showed you the start to my intro to the Bob Dylan song about the great blues musician, blind Willie McTell. And I tried to show you how I honed in on my way of playing this song using a mixture of guitar music theory knowledge and experimentation on a trial and error basis. In this lesson, I'd like to show you the rest of my version of this simple song and talk you through the process of how I arrived at it. After a couple of runs through the first part of the intro, E minor, B seventh, E minor, E minor, I then go around the main part of the sequence, the underlying chords of which are E minor, B seventh, D, A, C, D, E minor. But again, I look for slightly different versions of these chords. So starting with the same trick as I used in the last lesson of sliding up on the A string from the basic E minor shape to the open E minor shape here at fret 7, followed by the B sus4 chord as a substitute for the B seventh. From there, I apply the principle of implying the underlying chord change but using as few actual note changes as possible. This is really an idea I got from jazz, where because you often want to create as smooth a transition as possible from one chord to another, you're always looking for the simplest path from one chord shape to the next. So for this change I'm playing a B sus4, which has the notes B, E and F sharp in it, and I want to change to a D major, or a chord that's a good substitute for D major. I started by turning this open E note on the bottom string here into a D by fretting it here at fret 10 with my second finger. And actually, my ears immediately told me that this was really all the change that was needed. Now, I know many of you would say, great, what more do you need to know? If it sounds good to your ears, then surely that's all that matters. And actually, as far as composing or improvising music is concerned, I'm inclined to agree with this view. But if you want to expand and reinforce your musical knowledge, then I think it's always worth exploring why a particular chord shape works. So zooming in on what we just did, we see that we now have a chord made up of D, F sharp, B, another F sharp, another B, and an E. Analysing these notes against the D major scale, we can work out that they are the first, second, third and sixth notes in the scale. The next step takes a bit of experience of working with chord formulas, but I can see that this resolves to a chord with the formula 1, 3, 5, 6, 9, a D6-9. A chord which is frequently used as a direct substitute for a D major. For the change to the next chord, A, I wanted to use the C sharp note in the bass. C sharp is the third in the key of A, so one of the three chords that make up the chord of A major. Knowing that the next chord after this one is going to be a C, I like the idea of the descending bass line from the D, down to C sharp, down to C. So now I just have to figure out how to finger the other strings to fit with the chord of A major. So I've got my C sharp there on the bottom string. If I play the next string open, well that's an A anyway, so that's fine, we can leave that open. we can hear that the D sounds a bit odd in this context. So let's see, I can change that D string to an A note by using my first finger here at fret 7. So far so good. Let's hear what the G sounds like. Not too happy with that in this context. So I'm going to change the G string to another E note here by putting my little finger on it there at fret 9. E's the 5th in the key of A, so that's part of the chord. Then I think we can leave that B string open, and we've got E on the top string as well, so we can leave both those strings open. The open B string adds the second note of the A major scale, but this is always a neutral note in chords. It can be added to anything without affecting the basic tonality of the chord. So the chord we've created here is A add 9, a perfectly good substitute for A major. For the C chord, I'm going to stick with the basic open C because it seems to fit perfectly into the flow of chords we've so far created. Then for the D, I'm simply going to slide the C chord up 2 frets, leaving the E and the G strings ringing open. This gives us the chord D add 9 add 11. Which works great as the two added notes, E and G, also appear in the E minor chord, which is the next one that we're going to play. So I hope you can hear how by this process we've created versions of and substitutions for the basic chords that flow together in a nice series of sounds. Found this little video interesting, please click on the like button if there is one, or leave a comment, and do feel free to share the video with your friends. And if you'd like to gain full access to all our guitar teaching materials, please visit the Secret Guitar Teacher site and take a free look round at what's available there. See you again soon.